Hi. Hello, hello. Let me find Sarge. What is this? This is my first live where I'm hosting. Okay. So we're waiting for Sarge. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I was gonna put my hair flyer back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took it out for a second. It's fine.
You look gorgeous. I tuned in on your brunch hangout. What is it called again? Beautiful brunch?
Beautiful brunch.
Beautiful brunch. Yes.
Yeah.
How was that today?
It was cute. It was hella fun. We like hung out. We shook our booties. It was a
Yeah.
little hullabaloo. Got shut down by the Instagram police, so it's not a real party unless you get shut down by the cops.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that for sure, because um, I'm going to do like a formal little intro of you and everything. So I'm just going to wait for a few more people to hopefully tune in.
I feel
And
like our hair is matching today.
I know I like it.
We got the.
I send you a little mental boop.
I
You
was like,
got it.
get my hair right before we start this filming.
You got it. You look gorgeous.
Look at you. Look at you, little. You look all like dewy, like sun.
I know. I love the dewy look, fresh,
Yeah.
humid,
I like the matte look. I try to go like matte.
in the shine and the high shine.
Yeah, exactly.
Cleo's, where do you both get the audacity to be that? You're so funny. So, well, thank you for that. That's a great question to begin with. But we will definitely take questions from viewers like towards the end of everything. So let's see. I guess let's start on time. Let's see. So first, I just wanted to kind of explain to everyone what High Femme Curations kind of is, and in a lot of ways, I'm still figuring it out, right? So it was inspired by the fact that so many people that I look up to in the burlesque industry happen to all be like these queer femmes. And I was like, wow, burlesque is so gay. And I didn't know that when I first came in. I thought it would be really hetero, actually. And so to find that it is very queer has been one of the biggest gifts for me, at least, in finding this art form and the community. So it's like this my multi-layered baby project where the goal and primary purpose is to uplift and highlight queer femmes, and that's the goal of this. And as it develops, it'll look differently. Today, it looks like this. Originally, I had a show planned in May to that Sarge was actually in, where it was called High Femme, and it was going to be a Monday night takeover at Hubba, actually. And so most likely that won't be happening, not completely confirmed, but that's probably what happened. So that was going to be the big debut, but this is the big debut of High Femme, and I can't think of a better way than to have it be with an interview with you. So yay.
Oh, thank you. I'm really super grateful that you would even think of me to be a part of such a cool project. And I cannot wait to kick this off with you. So
Yeah. So we'll be recording this and it'll be available on obviously for 24 hours on Instagram, but then I'll be uploading it onto YouTube. I'm hoping to make a little archival series with these interviews for what's happening for burlesque artists in during the quarantine. So an intro for Sarge. Oh my God, I kind of did a little ditty and looked at your website and just created a little spoof, but here we go. She is the powerhouse behind Womanopoly, which currently has a residency in Jolene's in San Francisco. She has been performing since 2006. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Her tagline is brutal as hell, metal as fuck, and the beloved rainbow in the dark, which I love. Did you come up with that yourself?
You know what? It was like me and Fish, Elisa Lane. We were sitting around like, Fish, we got to think of taglines. I was like, I know, and everybody has such good ones. I don't know. And my friend, I come from a metal background, so saying Rainbow in the Dark, like Ronnie James Dio, made so much sense for me. And like, it never made sense to me, actually, besides like, it being all corny, like, Rainbow in the Dark, man, like that really does like encapsulate me pretty well. Yeah.
And does that also embody the fact that you are such a light in a lot of ways within the community, but also kind of a commentary on your queerness too? Is that?
You know what? It was really before I even had the opportunity to like come out, really. I came out later in life. I act like I'm like all like elderly and stuff. But like,
Yeah.
you know, some people knew they were gay from the beginning, and I had an attraction for women at a young age, but I didn't really know how to like identify that or hold on to it. So yeah, in the end, it's really, I'm lucky that that is a part of the original tagline I had way before I even had a 6 foot tall baby giraffe. You know, that was
Yeah.
something that came along later. But yeah, Rainbow in the Dark, it does have, it definitely grew into that. Yeah, I grew into my tagline.
Love it. So let's kind of dive into the first question, just in with Hi Fem being the host of this interview. Can you just tell me about your journey around being queer and like what that's been like for you? I know you kind of touched upon it just now, but
Yeah.
kind of growing into that as a burlesque artist, maybe specifically, and
I
your role
think
now.
I felt the same way that you did. I had no idea how fucking queer and gay and awesome like burlesque was when I first got involved. I had no clue.
Yeah.
I was also like, I grew up like pretty heavily religious. Like I grew up Southern Baptist, and
Mm-hmm.
so sexuality is something I really struggled with for like a long time. I knew that if I was gonna like further indulge or even like investigate anything about gayness and about, I'd say about junior high school, I started to like be aware of what gay was and queerness and stuff like that, because you hear it being thrown around but you never really, I didn't really get it till I was much older.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had stepped away from the church, realizing it was not a place for me. And I started to see that when I started that they were not okay with me listening to heavy metal, even though it was considered to be Christian metal or white metal. And also that they weren't okay with my friends who I had learned were gay,
Mm-hmm.
and they were trying to distance me from them. And I was like, why? They're awesome, you
Yeah.
know? And then by high school, I was like in the Rainbow Club and like learning about, you know, gay rights and what it was to be gay and how it was okay. And I wasn't even out yet. I was just like trying to help people like find their happiness and like being an ally, you know?
Yeah.
And then I had been separated from my like ex-husband. I got divorced, and I was given the finally the freedom I needed to be able to explore that. And
Mm-hmm.
the burlesque community was more than happy to help me find my way with open arms, and also with lots of education,
Mm-hmm.
lots of really cool events. I had been hanging out a lot in the Castro before I was out, you know, like trying to
Mm-hmm.
be where I felt comfortable, you know. And so I was really grateful that the burlesque community helped me figure out where I wanted to go. And then, and by no encouragement of anybody, just like, be you, girl, like be the best version of yourself you can be.
Yeah.
And then like now looking at my path and how it came to be, you know, I'm really just filled with so much gratitude with choosing this path. You know, it was scary as fuck to choose, but I'm so grateful that I did.
Yeah.
I
That's
hope that fully answered the question.
No, totally. I think that's a really relatable journey for a lot of us, right? There are those kind of really distinct stories where people know from a really young age. And for a lot of us, it is this kind of like unfolding process that's not so like conscious all the time. It's almost like it's happening to us, and then it's almost like our mind meets our body in this weird way as our body's walking through life. And we're like, oh, this
Yeah,
is,
yeah. And like also it was like really hard because once I realized I was queer, you know, coming out to my mom, my father had passed already, unfortunately, but then like a lot of unpacking happened through that. You know, I had been through sexual assault I'd never talked about. That is one thing I was really happy that I got to talk to my father about before he passed, because there's something about being able to be your full authentic self and being able to live your truth through the people who put you on the earth, and also the people who care about you genuinely, unapologetically, and like without like ulterior motives. You know, they just love you for you, you know. And to be lucky enough to have a family who fully accepted me was like such a blessing in so many different ways, you know. But also like um figuring out where I belong, like polyamory and like all the things, and like living in openness and like acceptance of my own sexuality and what I wanted, and like learning. I'm still constantly learning about that, you know. And now I'm in what presents as a straight relationship, but very queer in itself, in very many of its own ways, both me and my partner. And being able to have the freedom of being able to enjoy attractions to people, you know. I have crushes all the time and people attractions and things like that, and being able to share that with my partner and talk about the things is just so liberating and amazing, and he's so supportive. So
Yeah.
it's something I can be able to help other people find their way. And we talk with people about stuff all the time. We're like, oh, well, yeah, like we talk to us. We would love to help you. You know, and we're so excited to help other people find their way, or like also learn with us as we're still on our own journey constantly every day, you know?
Yeah. Well, that must be hard too, because a part of, being a queer femme in a lot of ways, that invisibility that you experience, right? And a lot of so much of our validation comes from almost like what's outside of us, like who our partner is or who we kind of hang out with. We like use those as markers to tell the world, hey, we're this, because like physically we may not look whatever, whatever that
Yeah.
is. And that's been the ongoing, I think, experience for a lot of us. And
Yeah, for sure. And I talk about that a lot with like how I've gone through like learning about people being genderized, or like people being put in a box, or like making assumptions, you know, and that I learned something really great at Burning Man, which is that like rejection is not a negative.
mm-hmm.
And like the way you perceive that rejection and how you deal with that and learn about yourself by looking inwards versus projecting on other people is a huge part of your journey as learning as a human, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I try really hard to do that when I'm conflicted or confused about something, and I take that as an opportunity to learn about somebody else or another thing or something, so I could be just the best version of myself I can be. And also said for to edify what I've already worked on, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
keep retrofitting and building and strengthening, you know, my own education and things. So,
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for kind of like crawling into that a little bit with me. There's so, I just saw a comment, someone saying that they feel that, it's such a relatable experience for so many of us. And, you're a huge pillar in like, spreading this message of inclusivity, and always just trying to, the way when I think of you, is like you feel like home to so many people. You provide that safety, and
home is where the heart is.
it's true. So on that note, I definitely want to kind of dive into kind of the topic of the series, which is kind of what it's been like for you as a queer woman of color, as a burlesque performer, a drag king, and what's going on right now with Shelter in Place. But for the sake of this series, Shelter and Sparkle. When I think of Instagram Live, I think you're the freaking queen of Instagram Live.
I am so not.
Hey, Jasmine. Yeah, you really are. No, you truly are. You have to take that title and I think you really normalize that, especially for me, to like go on and like be used to doing that, and even giving people their first opportunity and going live with you and performing with, in that way. We'll talk about what that's like in a minute, but I want to know where were you when it first sunk in that like everything as we knew it was about to change, like production was about to stop, like what was happening? Were you at home? Were you at Jolene's? Where were you?
I have a school bus, as
Mm-hmm.
some might know. I live on a school bus pretty much full time before all this happened. And it was like I like to be all fancy and be like, it's my pied a terre. So it's like my apartment, like you see on Mad Men, there's like the guys who like work in the city during the week and then they go home to the suburbs on the weekend, right? Well, This is my suburb here in Oakland. I have my apartment here, and I've been here for like a year, but I was on my school bus and I was talking with Jolene about, what was going on for like Sunday and how the numbers were looking super low. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this whole Corona stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. And like, they're probably sensationalizing the shit out of it, Next thing I know, we start seeing the different mandates from the city start coming in. I think I talked to her, maybe we usually touch base like Monday or Tuesday. Then, we see the first mandate come in, and then they're like starting to talk about the numbers and how many people. And we're like, oh, 100 people or 150 people, 200 people, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Then I started seeing it dropping every few days. It started dropping. And then next thing you know, like, cause usually you get about 45 to 60 people inside the bar, watching the brunch. And then we started to question, like, is it people's safety? Like, is it smart to do this show and put people's safety in jeopardy? Because we don't know what this thing is. And like, we're all seeing how freaked out people are. Mm-hmm. So Jolene's like, you know what? I said, fuck it. Let's both her and I came to an amicable decision that we should just cancel it for this weekend and see what happens, play it by ear every weekend after that, you know?
Right.
And then I started seeing what was happening in China, and I packed up anything I needed in the city and headed to Oakland and bunkered down here, you know, and it's crazy how quick it happened. I remember the first week thinking back, like, last week I was standing on the bar pouring shots for birthday people and twerking booty cheeks, bro. Like, how are we now? Like, I felt like it was like wartime. Like, it felt like I was in a movie, you know? And I was just like, this is so, it's sad, it's scary, it's a reality check that a motherfucker, because it really makes you realize just how small you are and like how like so much in the world is happening, you know, and you just really have to just stay calm, stay sane, don't act irrationally, you know, don't do any rash decisions about anything, you know, and just wait until we can start making decisions towards how we're going to start adapting to our new situation. Going live has been literally both a hybrid of this necessity of performing. Like, once you've been hosting a weekly for a year, it's just like, I have to, what am I doing with my life? You just start getting the itch, you know, you're like, oh shit, you know? Right. So I start feeling like, dude, I really need to be performing right now, like, so bad. And also, like, I miss my community like so fucking much. Like, you see people every fucking week, and it's not just like, I hate to even say that Jolene's is a job, because it's more like, it's like my home, you know what I mean? Like, that's where my community, I've never belonged to someplace like that in San Francisco. Like, I don't know, like all the bars that I used to perform in the Castro, you know, it was a gig, and I had some people that I see regularly there, and they were acquaintances, and I became friends with some people, but really Jolene's became my family. That was like, that's my home, you know, and I became not just emotionally attached there, but professionally and just artistically attached there. So I started really missing my family, missing my friends, and I was just like, you know, how can I connect to my folks? Obviously, my burlesque family, my drag king family specifically. And like, I was just like, what can I do? And I like, honestly, I was terrified to go live. It's like, it's not like when you're on stage and you're like, okay, 5 minutes and it's over. You can fuck up and go to sleep and wrestle with yourself the next day. But it's like, you're live for an hour, bro. You get to tap dance. You get all the fucking trim, bitch. You get to flub on your words, and you have malfunctions happen and all the things. And that all settled into me. I was like, oh, girl, I don't know if I'm ready for this shit. And me and Eric talked about it, or Attilla the Hung, as a lot of scene folks know, Attilla the Hung started talking to me about it, and like really just like gave me the confidence I needed to be able to go live and know that, you know, we were going to be doing it together. He's my stage manager, my right-hand dude, and we do everything together, you know. And I think that is a huge part of me being able to do that I have a really supportive partner in crime who I really couldn't function at such a high level of efficiency if it wasn't for him. So that's kind of where it went, you know. And then before I knew it, I was like inviting my friends, because like, oh my god, this is how I can be connected with all my homies, you know. I'm inviting people from across the country and across the world. I've got people who like are like my homie Banbury. We love Banbury. Our homie and fellow performer Banbury is locked up in Berlin alone with nobody, not near her family and stuff. And I'm like, this is how we can keep our friends like happy and excited and give them something to look forward to and get their mind off the scary shit. Not turn a blind eye, but just have some positivity and some consistency, you know. And that helps a lot. So yeah. And that's a long answer.
No, you opened up like a can of so much that I definitely want to like dive into more, which is like, I think it's kind of this, you know, you touched upon some of this, but like, what has been like your shelter and sparkle like routine, you know, which I feel like in terms of like show growing still, you know, you have your Wednesday house arrest show, you have your Friday one night stand one night stand show, and then Sunday you have your beautiful brunch with Rachel. And you know, I mean, you are just pushing it out. You're like working still. You really are. So how, and to me it seems so seamless, right? And it sounds like, you know, a lot of that came from support from Atilla, you know, which is always helpful when you have a supportive partner. But I feel like you just transformed onto this new platform so easily. And I guess like, can you talk about that process, what that was like for you? You sounded like it was a struggle and there was some insecurity there at first, but
Oh,
now it
so
just
much,
seems like secondhand.
so much insecurity. And like, you know, in the end, I don't like, I guess I'm like very much a person, like, I don't really give a shit that much about what people think about me. And like, I think more than anything else, it's more like what I think about how I'm presenting and like how I want to be perceived. It's like my burlesque persona. I've worked really hard for Sergeant Device, even though I ain't shit. I'm a small fish, but Sergeant Device is all mine. You know what I mean? Like that's all me. Tyson check-in is on me. Control Alt V is on me, and people make fun of all my different personas, but really,
Really? Why?
I have so many because you know different lives, you know different artistic lives, and you need to be keeping them separate, you know. And as far as me transitioning from being on stage to being, you know, live on my shows, you know, it's really a matter of like I feel like the way I decide I would decipher the difference on the show. So the Friday night show originally was the only show I wanted to do, and I was like, I'm just gonna go live one day, you know, out of the week and give some people some laughs and some excitement and some new shit that I could work on. So it was like some way I could be able to keep myself doing stuff throughout the week and not looking at the news or reading into fucking like the media like sensationalizing shit, you know, because I'm a conspiracy theorist, honey. I'm like, I think they did it. I know they did it. That's why that shit is, you know, I started getting hella paranoid, right? And
Totally,
then
yeah.
I started really liking it, and then I started tying it into my Patreon, and people were tipping me on my Venmo. And it not even was like I was just like I don't know, maybe it's because I come from urban settings, the hood, or just not really ever having a whole lot of money to operate with. I'm like, oh great, I lost my job. Woo, unpaid vacation. What are we gonna do next? You know, like I wasn't stressed about that part as much as I was about just like feeling like my entertainment community was getting hit hard and that I was like losing all the things that we worked so hard for at Jolene's, and also just like finally feeling like I had a place in my community where we can all come together and feel like we're in this dope safe space where I can bring people to, and having to put that onto a computer now and being able to connect with people the same way, you know. And
Yeah.
then the show itself, I just started doing that because I was like, dude, it'd just be fun, like to show people some of the people that I've been bringing into my brunches, because we've been doing it together for a year. And then for some people before, when I was doing the show out in Vallejo at the townhouse, that's 7, 8 years ago. You know, what I mean, I can be bringing the same people who were fucking with me then now, you know, so I can showcase those performers and do the thing. And then it ended up being, oh, well, I guess I'll do next week because it was really successful and people had a
Yeah.
really great time. I got so much good
Loved it.
feedback, and it just made me feel really good. I couldn't stop smiling after the first show. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is so great. It's the same punch of endorphin and the same excitement and like fangirling that I get to do when I'm at the show, except it's like less running around because I actually get to sit and watch everybody. And
Yeah. Yeah.
all
You
the
get to
running around,
enjoy a little bit more.
yeah, all the running around happens before the show. And, you
Yeah.
know, me and Attilla, we do that shit together. And it's so fucking fun. And it really, when you've been doing burlesque, and I say this lightly because I'm still a baby in burlesque. You know, I've only been doing this 10 years. Like,
I'm still a baby after 10 years. Damn. What am I?
look
The
at our
embryo? I'm
legends.
an embryo.
Look at look at our legends, you know, look at our
Yeah,
legends who
that's
were doing
true.
40 or 50
Yes.
years. And so I feel like I'm still in training wheels, you know. I
Yeah.
haven't even hit I'm still climbing as to who I'm gonna become in burlesque and what I'm gonna be remembered as, you know. And you know, just like thinking about that and like growing with our audience. This is a whole new way to grow with our audience, you know, and I love that. I
Yes.
love growing with our audience and making new friends and making new viewers and fans of burlesque and drag and educating people about things they might not have never seen before because they don't have it available, you
That's
know.
That's
That's
what I mean. I love all of that, and part of I think there's so much magic in this platform too. Like you said, being able to connect with people. Like even thinking of the people. Like I want Banbury on this at some point. I can't have her, if she wants to be, but it's possible through this. And like you said, it's like it's been cool to see like Elise on your show this past week. And she's
yeah,
in Vegas, so there is kind of a beauty in this weird way to connect in a way that's was not possible physically. So and I think that what you've been doing has really showcased that, you know, just through your work
Yeah.
naturally. So that's really, really cool. So can you, I think a lot of people get intimidated by performing live. Why are you laughing?
We have a new burlesque baby that's just about to get started. Royal Chocolate. She's so funny.
Yeah.
She used to be my makeup artist
Uh-huh.
over at Bare Minerals when it used to
Uh-huh.
be out in over by SF State.
Uh-huh.
And we became friends. So we started following each other on Instagram. And she be tuning into all my burlesque shit. And she says the other day while I was going live, I think I want to try doing burlesque now that I have some downtime. And she just said right here, I'm not even a
Yeah.
fetus then.
I'm not even an embryo. Yeah. I don't know. So 10 years, you're still a baby. Like, no, I'm
Still a
not even,
baby.
I'm not even like thought of.
No, but that's the thing. That's the
Yeah.
best thing about being young in it, because it's still so malleable. You know, you can transform
Absolutely.
into anything you want, and like
Yeah.
also you can just there's the sky's the limit. That's got to be the best
Absolutely.
feeling. I think that's the best thing about going live is it just brings back that whole creativity, that excitement to be creating something from scratch again, like when you first started. You know, like a
Mm-hmm.
virgin, like that. You know. It's just
Mm-hmm.
rejuvenating your excitement to create again over and
Mm-hmm.
over again. So it's good. It's
And then
good.
a different way to like perform for the camera than performing live, right? You know, it's like, you know, I've been seeing other live shows just to like study to see what works and what doesn't work, you know, and you know, a lot of times, you know, when I think of being on stage, you want everyone to see all of you, you know, so you stand back, you kind of extend yourself away almost while you, and then certain people get to have you up close, but in camera, like if you're just a blob on a screen if you're far away, so you really have to, it's almost like these like live music videos almost, you
Yeah.
know.
That's what I have to think. I'm like, before I perform now, I'm like, you're Tiana Taylor, bitch. You're Tiana. I'm just like, I have to get in my mindset and like really envision how
Yes.
I want to like look on screen when I'm doing stuff. You know, you have to be really aware of every single part of your body, your hair, your face, your
Definitely.
eyelashes,
All of
everything.
it. It's
And you're like,
all like up close.
everything. They can see
HD.
everything. I'm like, ain't no filter gonna save you today, bitch. You better have them toes pointed.
I know. So do you
Yeah.
have any pointers for artists who haven't gone live yet, who are about to, or who might be interested? Like, what are some pointers for them to like performing for the camera?
I would say if you have the opportunity to, if you're really afraid, go live like after you've tried doing it with your own camera alone. You know what I mean? Like I went on my Friday night one night stands. I usually do one like show at 10 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
and do it live and then cut it, right? And then after that, I go over the number like 4 or 5 times and I edit the number for distribution for my Patreon supporters and like people who like tip and stay consistent with me, so they have something fun to look at and also a reference for me, because I can use those videos to submit for other like shows and other festivals and things of that nature later. So it's something, it's like you're stockpiling your numbers every
A
time you do it.
portfolio, even.
Your portfolio, you're putting your shit into a portfolio, which I know seems like pointless, but actually is very helpful and fun. As well as, if you think about it, the way we're doing stuff right now, it's going to change the way that we submit to things and the way that we interact with our audiences and how shows are going to go down. So I've been starting that conversation with people about what we're going to do after this is all done, because it's all going to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just I think starting at home, it's just like Elise is the perfect person to ask about this, because I'd be like, how do you do that thing where you just get all sexy and don't feel it like shy or nothing? She
Yeah.
goes, Fish, what you do is you touch yourself the way
Yes.
you feel you want to be touched by your lover, or like you touch yourself, like you really want to feel yourself and be in your oats, being your feelings with yourself, and
Yeah.
imagine there's nobody there. And I'm like, that is intense. I would have to wear earplugs and a blindfold, bro.
Well, it's really intimate in a different way, and then you have people observing what that is for you. That's information that they can like see,
I know.
experience. Yeah.
Look, La Bamboo Vixen's there. Hi, La Bamboo.
Hello.
Hi. She's been doing burlesque forever. I was talking with her for like a long time about how before I met my partner, I wanted to get on cruise ships and like tour the world and just do burlesque full time, you know? And she knows exactly what it is to have the difference between like being on a stage versus being up close personal, like, say for instance, someplace like Dwayne Park, where literally people are like up on you. That's how it is, like right in your face. They can see everything. If you don't cut your string before you go on, they gonna see it.
It's kind
You
of
know?
how Jolene's is too. It's very like almost no. There's an open floor, you know, so it is up and close, and that's what's so fun about it too, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that it's really it puts the audience in the number, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that people who are performers immediately see how dope of a performer you are when you can adapt with anything that's happening. Anything. I've knocked people's drinks over, I've slipped on a piece of costume, I have almost fallen into the bar. You know who I really admire are people. There's like a bar above the bar. It's like
Yeah.
the Coyote Ugly setup, and like people like Frankie and Banberry get up there, and do all this acrobatic shit up there. I'm like, thank God they send a waiver, bitch. This place gonna be shut down tomorrow, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, but that shit happens, and you're just like, fuck, dude. It really makes you respect all the people that you have the pleasure of performing with, because they're so easy to adapt to things. And then you see some people who can't. Some people who are really bad at adapting to things, and I mean that also leads me to just a small branch out, which is like a venue, you know, what it's like to have a venue who fucking backs you up. Like Jolene's backs me the fuck up. Like they have my back about everything. Like there's something I want to try, or if there's a performer that wants to do a new kind of number. And like, unlike a lot of venues that literally all they just want their money. All they give a fuck about is how many people you can bring in. You know, they like Jolene's actually gives a shit not just about you know, the caliber of performance, who's coming, gender, sexual identification, like as in how you identify sexually. Like they give a shit about all that. Like there's some people they won't allow back to host or things of that nature because people don't care about respecting people's pronouns, you know, like things of that nature. And they're like, no, we can't have that. You know, this is a safe space. You know, you are safe here. That is why we put it right there. So you understand, you know, and speaking of me as their as an event coordinator and a curator for the brunch there, you know, like I'm really lucky to feel that security, because it's the first time in a really long time where I felt like I was someplace where I had a home, and also they understood what it was to be able to see us as performers and artists interacting with our audience and seeing how important it was, and how it made the performances different than a lot of places. It allows us to be the full authentic performer that we're capable of being, because they have our back, you know, and that's fucking dope.
Yeah, and I would imagine it's like a huge testament to like you as a producer, and you know, like a place believing in what you can offer, you know, and as a Black queer woman, I'm sure that you've experienced, and I know firsthand that you have, you know, a lot of
My face.
yeah, I mean, a lot of rejection, a lot of advantage taking of what you bring to the table. So I'm glad that you found a place that is honoring that for you. You know, that's important.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
hard transitioning from Vallejo, I'll tell you that,
oh
because
my God, Vallejo!
yeah.
I would love to experience a Vallejo crowd. What that might be like.
Oh, yeah, well, if you can kind of combine like a Oakland sideshow in the middle of the street, like MacArthur, and like Smallville,
Yeah.
that's kind of what it's like.
Well, so actually, one of my questions for you is, what is the name? What's the name behind, or what's the story behind Womanopoly? Like,
Oh
like,
God.
why the name Womanopoly? What is that? Monopoly, I get that. Woman. Yeah.
Well, okay, so at the time, me and Elisa Lane were in a group called Live It Cult Burlesque, and we felt pretty stifled because we had a very negative experience with a performer who was taking our production credit. Like we were booking the venues, we were doing the promotions, we were doing a lot of the graphic design, we were doing all kinds of shit for this girl, and she was running around the street saying it was her shit. And then she threatened to blackball us out of the burlesque scene for starting our own production, Womanopoly. And we started it because it was nothing like what she said she wanted her thing to be, which was like subversive and all this other shit. Though it was diverse and it was full of a lot of queer, awesome femmes. Probably my first interactions with women of color who were queer as fuck, and
Yeah.
like very, like had a lot of sexual positive reinforcement from them. Juicy Delight, Sugarcane Jane, Bunny Pistol, Mojo DeVille, so many fucking amazing like first time experiences and people that I got to fucking be with. And me and Elise, we were just like, yo, bro, we gotta stop letting this chick fucking manhandle us. Like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We need to start our own shit and be all the things that this motherfucker says she gonna be, and actually do the right thing, which is lead with your heart and treat people right and do the right fucking thing.
Yes.
And that's what we did. And like, you know, for a long time, we weren't really respected as producers because we were out in Vallejo. You know, we weren't in Oakland or we weren't in San Francisco. And even when we weren't included in like the production talks or like being a part of the producers and stuff. And then before you know it, people start reaching out to us and wanting to perform in our show. Yeah. And then also wanted to like, oh, well, you know, can I like so the Legionnaire Saloon was our second Oakland venue. We were at Eli's Mile High Club for a year or so, and then my father passed away, and I took a break, and then I got back to doing it, and we had a show at the Legionnaire because Zach of Foreign Legion, Prozac Turner, is one of my brother's best friends and also his counterpart in Foreign Legion, and invited me to come and put the burlesque show on there at the Legionnaire. And then we had decided to move on to greener pastures and try to get into San Francisco. We were doing it at the Stud, and it just never got the love or like reception we were really hoping for. And then before you know it, I was burnt out. I was like, I don't want to fucking produce a goddamn thing, and I can't find my fucking footing, even though we were still doing the Vallejo show, even though we were moving around to different places. And then we ended up at Jolene's, and not ended up, like I was lucky enough to land there on my feet with a woman of color who was also queer, and actually listened to me, heard me, saw, was like seeing me, and like saw my vision and wanted to put it into action.
So that was like a 5-year journey?
I'd say just about. Womanopoly started in 2012. And then like we just bounced around, and then it wasn't until 2019 or so I found Jolene. It was because of Honey Do Me Melons.
Yeah, I know. I love the story so much. I love her.
Yeah, and I wasn't gonna reach out to Jolene because you know how it is. I don't know if you know how it is, but it is like
I haven't quite entered. I mean, High Femme would be me entering into that realm soon. But I mean, you know, my stuff is a little different, but I would imagine how
it was really competitive. And I feel like if there's a new gay venue, girl, that's opening and a chick is running it, I was like, I know that place is going to be getting fucking inquiries out the dough, bitch. And I was like, I don't know. And then before I knew it, Honey was like, listen, you know, you don't know what this chick might say. You don't know what she's looking for. And I feel like she got possessed by my late father, because he said the same thing about me going to Burlesque Hall of Fame. I was going to apply to that. And he was like, you better. And it's not your decision it's not your place to decide if you belong there or not. Let them tell you they don't want you, you know? And it was the same thing with Jolene's. It's like, Honey said the same thing. It's like, it's not your responsibility. It ain't your business to decide if you belong there or not. What you need to do is put this motherfucking promo pack together and send that shit in and let her decide if she wants to have you or not. And I fucking did that. And then before you know it, I started really getting curious, and I went and looked at it, and I saw the bar, and I saw how fucking like femme, like positive, and like also like inviting for all different types on the spectrum of the LGBTQIA. And it was just warm as shit. It was unlike any fucking queer bar I'd ever experienced, really. And I'd been to the Lexington, girl, and it wasn't like that, you know.
I remember Lexington back in the day. I would go there.
It fucking was not like that. And no shade on the Lexington. I'm just saying it wasn't like Jolene's, you know. And so
the Lexington closed though, right? A while back. Yeah.
It closed, unfortunately, you know. But yeah, it was like walked in and I just started getting a taste for it, and I was like, I'm gonna go for this. Fuck it, you know what I mean? And then I met Jolene, and I started talking with her and Shannon, and I was like, Shannon was like adorable, Jolene was adorable, and just really started falling in love with the place, and finally got in there. So
have your residency there. That's awesome. That's cool. It's nice to be it's nice to probably like just be in that security after so many, like, you know, things getting swooped from you and things just not working out, and having a place that really supports your vision, you know, that's important.
Hells yeah. I feel like the sky's the limit there for sure. Like every time, I literally just said that idea to Jolie today. Frankie had said to me, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta talk to Jolene. Jolene wasn't even awake yet. Jolene woke up to like, yo, I got this idea. Like, Frankie said, you know, and then Jolene's like, how do we make this happen? Good morning. Like, no coffee, anything. So
Yeah.
this is the shit, you know? So yeah. And like I said, it's just, it's nice to feel, especially in a place like San Francisco, where I feel like art has really taken a huge hit because of like the tech industry and like, you know, people being really comfortable with like just staying Netflix and chilling, you know, save money, stay inside, you know. And it's so cool to be someplace that really does believe in putting art out there and like doing new, fresh ideas and challenging people's thinking. I love it.
Yeah, I love that energy too. It keeps everything fresh. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that. I want to kind of reground into just, yeah, the quarantine a little bit more. I guess, like, what's been the hardest part from you? I think there's this part of the reason why I wanted to do this is because I feel like, you know, quarantine inside is always Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media. You can always upkeep this persona as though everything is always great. You know what I mean? Like, if you saw my Instagram, you probably would not even knew I struggle or whatever. I mean, I try to keep it vulnerable and open in my posts and stuff. That's important to me in terms of in my own branding, to be that kind of person. But you know, not everyone's like that. And I feel like you're someone who's always kind of just like sharing your heart with everybody, you know? And so, like, what is, yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring it back into like, what has been your personal struggle within all of this? I mean, a lot of it has already been talked about, you know, in the conversation, but anything specific coming up for you? I know you are partnered and you have some roommates, so you have some people you see every day, but is there anything else that's coming up for you that you weren't like, wow, I didn't realize that that would come up for me, or anything surprising in that way?
I think every time something comes up, I'm like, fuck. It's like you really get checked into like what things are readily available to you, you know, like fucking like just simple shit like the liquor store down the street. Not anymore. That shit's closed. You know what I mean? Like I'm really surprised actually we're still able to get fast food and stuff like that, or like food delivered, you know. Not being able to go, like waiting an hour to go into the bank, or waiting 30 minutes to go into Trader Joe's, you know. And the fear has been really hard for me, because I'm really surprised how a lot of people, even close people, like people I'm close to, like are letting fear kind of like control how they're going about it. And also I really miss human contact, you know. I miss hugging people. I miss like high-fiving and all the things. Like I have to be really aware of my body. And also like just like going outside and seeing how empty it is, it feels so weird, you know. And like I'm really actually surprised that there's less police presence than there has been, especially here in Oakland. There hasn't been a lot of police presence. I did notice a lot of police activity near the Bay Bridge, which was making me unsettled, because I'm a heavy believer. And like with the police, if you outfit your police to look military, like the military, then they're going to act like the military, you know. Like there's a lot of things I think that I don't really agree with the way that they're going about how to keep us in line. You know, I've been hearing about how they're citing people now for not keeping 6 feet apart. And I can understand that. That's for safety and stuff like that. I get that. But, you know, absolutely got to stay safe out there. It is scary. And also, I'm really grateful there hasn't been any rioting or looting, you know. Like I'm trying to really hope that the media is responsible for the way that they're sensationalizing things, because if they fucking like pull the trigger and people start panicking, people are gonna start fucking looting and rioting, and it's gonna fucking set us into this crazy ass, really scary out. It already feels like post-apocalyptic, like crazy, you know. But I will say positive stuff, like, you know, I'm getting to know my neighbors, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I get to talk with people I really haven't had the opportunity to hang out and talk with in my neighborhood. And now the little Thai food place like 2 blocks from my house, they like recognize us.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're back. We like the yellow curry, you know. You know. And
so good.
Yeah, I think the other thing I'm really surprised about, I can't stop like giving accolades, like how like community's been showing up. I know I'm supposed to be talking about like negative things or things that I've been struggling with, but honestly, the positives really have been outweighing the negatives, like
Love that.
huge.
That's great. I mean, you gave me a little positive yesterday by dropping these off for me. That was really sweet.
Oh, I
That
did.
was so sweet. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's this really strange reality of so much like horror and fear, and at the same time, this really um, like beauty at the same time in these sprouting in different ways, right?
Yeah,
It's
you
very
really see
surprising.
people's true colors. I feel like a lot of masks have come off, girl. And like
Right.
you really get to see who people are and how they behave. And like there's some people who've turned into complete like shut-ins or like total like they're just hiding out,
Yeah, there's
hermit.
some people like I haven't heard from at all. So everyone has a different response to this, and that's why I'm so excited to talk to different kinds of people who are open to talking with me because everyone is responding. See, Cuban just came on, and I feel like you and him have been the two pioneers really of
Oh,
going live
what's up,
like every week,
Cuban?
and yeah, and like providing a space for performers to have something to look forward to every week. And I know, like, I'm sure people have messaged you like, "Hey, can I do your Wednesday show now?" And like,
Yeah,
which
I
is so
love
funny
it.
because yeah, it's great. It's
I
so
love it. I'm like,
great.
please reach out to me because like I
Yeah,
want to give people something to like focus on and
look
look forward
forward
to.
to. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just get back into that routine a little bit again, and you give that
Um,
joy. Yeah,
Tito is going to be on the Wednesday show this week, so
I had
that's
a
the thing
feeling. I remember
too.
you mentioning something that's super exciting. So
That
yeah.
was you. You did that. You were like, Tina's doing that. I was like, what, girl? You educated me. I was like, all right, well, shit. Let me just
Yeah,
sit on the
it's
cube and mess and see what's up.
yes, it's good. It's sometimes, people, I feel like people contribute different things, and then people like you and Tito, and I know other folks too around the country, and in the world, and there are people who just kind of are better at leading and holding that space and creating that space for people. And you're definitely one of those people. And I feel like you've offered some like normalcy as much as there can be in terms of being a burlesque performer and continuing to perform, especially if you're not like comfortable just going live by yourself. Like I've done that a few times, and it's like always like like why would anyone want to? Like I look at the numbers, I'm like, how many people are on?
It's like 5 people.
It
You're like,
doesn't
hey, y'all,
matter
5 of
though.
you, what's good? But
Yeah, it's
what I like
okay.
to do, I just think about it. I'm like, what would it look like if there were 5 people in the room right now? Like,
You
it's
would
the
give it
same
your
thing if my
all.
roommates were here. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. It's great. And then people get to see it after too. You leave it, you add it to your live to your
Page.
story, and
Yes.
everybody gets to see it and be excited and hang out with you. I think it's great. And all the people who've been tipping, I'm telling you, it's been fellow performers, it's been go-go dancers, it's been some of the managers and the people I work with, it's been
Mm-hmm.
fucking audience members who were actually at the shows, and I appreciate everybody who's been tipping.
Yeah.
And it's some people, like I got furloughed twice, 4 times if you count Attilla, because Attila got furloughed twice too. So
Wow.
me and my partner are completely out of work, and the only way we're able to make income right now is just performing live and you know
Mm-hmm.
dancing our asses off on live. And it's
Yeah.
super fun, and it also kind of scratches that full-time artist itch. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always want to be able to just like say fuck it, I don't want to do anything but perform, and literally that's what I'm doing now, and it is
Yeah.
so much goddamn fun. It's so great.
And I can definitely see that joy. And thanks for sharing that with us. I think it's a lot of reality for performers, right? Like they have no income. I was talking to another person who was saying literally they have nothing now. Everything got
Mhm.
canceled. Some people are lucky to have partners who can support them. Some people don't. Everyone has a different story, and so the impact lands differently. And I think someone where someone like you, where the impact is hitting strong because you have a lot of things are on pause and a lot of things have but you're still going. So I'm just, I guess, one of my last questions to lead into wrapping up is like, how do you stay so optimistic about like
I'm an
how?
Aries, baby.
I mean, Aries are not optimistic. You guys are conquer and destroy.
I think my optimism has to do a lot with like keeping my eye on like my vision, like for what I see in the future. Like
Yeah.
as long as I keep focused on like my community, what the point of what I do is, like also like where I see myself, like, nah, I'm not looking at about 6 months. I'm looking at 5 years from now. Like, what is this gonna do for me? Short term, long, mid goal, and long term, like, and also thinking about the fact that we're capable of anything. And if it's really a mindset. Like maybe I watch too many war movies, but I always think when they're in the interrogation and they're getting waterboarded, you know, I'm always like, you know, what do you do in those positions? And you have to stay like positive. You have to keep a
Mhm.
affirmative, as Attila says, affirmative mindset, like affirmative thinking. You know, you got to think about the positive shit, because the second you start letting that
On the
negativity get in,
spiral.
that shit will complete. It's like termites. It just eats your foundation away. You know, and
Yeah.
like I have low days. I have days where I get really sad, and I'm like, maybe this isn't gonna end sometime soon. Like, and then I'm like, bitch, shut up. Like, of
Mhm.
course it's gonna end. And like, what's the worst that can happen? You're locked in your house and
Mhm.
can't go nowhere. Up, we're already there. So like, you
Mhm.
know, that's the whole thing. And I think also with this whole thing, like people performing live, I think, oh, the other pain in the ass I forgot to mention was the censorship, and also the whole copyright infringement bullshit. You know, I had a really big thing today. We were doing the Beautiful Brunch earlier, and we got shut down twice because of
I
copyright
saw
infringement.
that.
And I left my Spotify on the screen so they could see that we weren't just playing, we were like playing it off of Spotify, which means it's paid for, you know what I'm saying? And they
Mhm.
still shut us down, you know what I'm saying? I wish that they were more understanding to artists that were just trying to keep, you know, morale up and also keep creating and get people something to look at. Get smart. Like, why don't they do a partnership with Spotify, so that way when they play music live, they can just go on Spotify and pick it, or a playlist, that way it's already paid for, and then they can't come after them for things like copyright infringement.
Mhm.
But even though they're not getting smart because they're a bunch of dumbasses, I'm like, okay, I've been getting really creative with that too. So like, this
Yeah.
has forced me into yet another mold. So now I'm like, I'm gonna find, you know, live musicians. I've been talking to my boy Lincoln Adler. I'm gonna go talk to Lawrence from Sinister Twist. Hey, you want to come play while my burlesque performers are doing their thing?
Mhm.
Awesome, come on in. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I'm gonna start doing it, so that way we can be able to skirt the copyright situation and stop getting shut
Mhm.
down, so that we can keep moving fucking forward.
I know. And that's, I mean, that's the magic of you. You know, you see this obstacle and you're like, well, okay, well, this way. Okay, well, this way. And it's a beautiful process to witness and to really be a part of, because I mean, that's one of the hardest things, right? I've seen a lot of live shows just get boop, cut off because of music, you know, and a lot of people don't want to do shows live because of that, whatever, whatever. And, you know, as being burlesque artists, we're censored, you know, like I'm blocked from Facebook for 30 days. I know you just
Yeah.
got out of Facebook jail. You know, it is very, very hard for our art form is hard, which is, you know, we have 10 minutes here. The last 10 minutes I kind of wanted to dedicate to some questions we received from people who were watching. I saw one earlier from Blix's sister Maggie. I think she asked a question along the lines of like, why do we choose this particular art form as the one, burlesque as an art form? I say, okay, here it is. It's why burlesque. There are so many ways to artistically express yourself. What about burlesque compared to other art forms drew you in so much?
Well, that's easy. For me, in my personal journey,
Yeah.
I was a tomboy for hella long. Like, I didn't wear makeup. I have long black dreads, boy clothes, like down to, and I don't mean to like generalize the clothing, but like literally, I look like a dude. And this is way before like non-binary and all that stuff was around and like was a discussion, you know. And I was really interested in learning about femininity and about my body. And also I had not unpacked what I had gone through sexually, as far as like my assault was concerned. And I was sexually assaulted by a woman at a very young age. And I really needed to learn about my body, and also accepting every piece of it, the parts I love, the parts I hate, the parts I didn't know about. We'll see my body move. And there's something about taking your clothes off in front of an audience of people, and really just bearing your soul without a stitch on you except for a G string and some pasties, that is just so fucking cleansing. That's why burlesque.
Thank you. I'm like,
That's the shortest way I could give it.
I mean, that's powerful. It's really powerful. And I know you've talked about just like coming more into your femininity too, and like enjoying that, and learning how others do it and what that looks like for you. And it's been beautiful to hear that personal dialogue of yours. And I mean, you're ultimate femme queen. I mean, are you kidding? Yeah. I mean,
I'm learning how every day a
yeah.
little more. You all are teaching me. Hi, Madam Butch. I see you. What's up? I yeah, I love all the time, like being able to do what I do and to do it with y'all. There's a camaraderie that happens also with the people that you're doing with that with, you know. It's so cool and it's so much fun. And there's nothing like being backstage with a bunch of people trying to get their shit together to go on stage and disrobe everything for 5 minutes and seeing so much passion and commitment and just feeling like you just there's so much conviction in what people do in there. It's only for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. It is amazing. And the story you can tell in 5 minutes is so impressive and so awesome. And like for people who are like, burlesque, whatever, fuck that shit. It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, good for you girls. Not my responsibility to make you understand.
Exactly.
Next.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wild art form. I love it so much. It touches upon so many different aspects of the human experience in one, you know, being a woman of color. Like, there's so much, like, you know, the body is political. I know there's a whole production dedicated to that work, but it's truly the body is political, and the bodies that do burlesque, you know, are so important. Like, burlesque needs bodies and faces like ours.
All different shapes, size, color, creed, gender, all the things, non-genders, everything. And I'll tell you what, and I was able to balance it between the difference when I was playing in metal bands. I was signed to a label, I was touring, and I stepped away because I wanted to find something where I could control my own trajectory, where I could like tap into my femininity and also get out whatever I put into it. And burlesque has done that tenfold. It has taken me around the world several times. It has given me the community and family I ever wanted in and out of the United States. It has allowed me to educate in other countries where like LGBTQ is like 20 years behind us, and then I can help them with the way that we did our mistakes, learning from our mistakes, and also helping them guide them as like what we did that helped us be successful. And that's, I mean, I didn't find that anywhere else. So yes, hell yes to burlesque.
Yeah, hell yes to burlesque. Make sure it's hell yes to burlesque. Well, we have only a few more minutes. My kind of like final fun little question for you. Is there the moment you're back at probably Jolene's, like what act would you want to perform for everyone first? Is there like a specific
I lost a little bit what you said. One more time.
What would be the first act in your repertoire that you would want to perform first for everybody?
Oh, easy. So Kiki La Chanteuse is working on this new number for me. There's two numbers that come to mind. Kiki La Chanteuse is working on a robe for me where I am taking, hopefully my brother doesn't watch this, I am taking my new song that's by Sinister Twist called The Sarge in Charge. They made me my own burlesque song. Amazing.
Another one?
No, this is the theme song that I played before the show.
Okay,
for Womanopoly. Yeah, The Sarge in Charge. And I'm going to be combining that with one of my brother's tracks from Foreign Legion. And he had no idea I was going to actually do it for the Hubba birthday show tomorrow. It should have been. Yeah, and I'm going to be performing that, and I'm super excited about that, as well as I've got a marching band number that Trixie Foularant is currently rhinestoning. I'm really excited. Yeah, so
you have some new work that you can present.
Yes, I have 3 new numbers I'm working on. I got a new costume that was inspired actually by Benbury, the third one, and it's a really sexy, super high femme, very like bossy, badass, and that's the one I'm working on. And I've been costuming. It's the first costume I ever sewed. Did all the rhinestone.
Wow, that's huge. Because you know me, I hate rhinestoning.
I hot glue everything, and I rhinestone a lot of shit. But this one I actually sewed and did all the I did the color matching for the mesh on my skin. Like it's easy. So
that's special. It must be like a totally different experience. Like make something for yourself and perform in it. Yeah.
I'm glad you have a gauge on time, by the way, on this, because Instagram will be like, it's been an hour.
Bye. Yeah, totally.
They worse than PG&E. They will shut your shit off so fast.
It's really fun. I've noticed that. It's like, tune in, and then boop, it ended. Well, I want to thank everyone who tuned in. Sarge, thank you for your time and energy and your story and sharing that all of it with us today. If you have the means to, please tip Sarge. Her information is down below where it's pinned. Anything would be loved and helpful, so thank you. And we hope to have more people join in to just continue this conversation about how we're all doing in quarantine from everything that I've seen. And I absolutely know you are doing amazing. And even if you're not, that's amazing too, you know. And thank you for always keeping it real for all of us and just continuing the work, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being such a huge supporter and showing up. You always show up, you and Blix.
Yeah.
Love y'all to death. I will be figuring my new scheme on some kind gesture you'll never see coming.
Ooh.
And hopefully we can have a Netflix movie night or something.
Yes.
So